Did you need something?
keep thinking.
Aloy. Hey, I was hoping you'd show up. I have something for you to commemorate our, mission. We did good together.
Yeah, we did. Doesn't look like any of our guests are making trouble.
Yet. So, Catalo tells me you flew. Well, that's new. I've been busting my balls trying to learn to read. You're out there having all the fun.
Don't worry. You'll be getting all the fun you can handle soon. With the Zeniths.
Looking forward to it.
You look tired.
Ha! I've just been making sure that I got everything down. I wouldn't want to be the usual screw-up out there.
You'll do fine, Aaron. You've been looking at any interest...
I asked Gaia to find me someone to look at a while back, and she found the mother of all forges. They called it sports. Turns out the old ones spent a lot of time tackling and punching each other for points in one game or another. Are you mixing some solid food and fresh ale? I bet half the claim will be lining up to watch.
What you reading next?
I saw Gaia added something to the archives about metal rods being used to harness lightning during storms. Guy reminded me of a cousin of mine. Thought he could trap lightning if he covered himself in Stormbird plates. Went up the tallest mountain in the claim to prove it. It ended like a lot of Oseram things do. With a spark and a boom.
I guess Silence is keeping to himself, as usual.
I was hoping he'd give me an excuse to hammer his sorry ass to the ground.
Please don't.
You telling me you wouldn't want to get just one good hit on that smug face of his? After everything he's done?
Sure. Later. Right now, he's got something we need. Do you think Zoe will be okay?
I don't think anyone's ever okay after losing the one they love. I can't tell you she's handling it better than I ever did. That keeps the rest of us level-headed.
Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe asked us to help her bring more plants in here. Not for eating, apparently. Yeah, if you ask me, the place is fine as it is. You know, metal might be plain, but it's sturdy. Nothing wrong with that. Who needs a bunch of vegetation?
How are things with Catalo? You still scared of him?
Oh, she thinks she's funny. Actually, I asked if he'd be interested in playing a game of Strike. I had to fill in most of the conversation myself, but I'm still alive.
Glad to hear it. Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new focus quick, that's for sure. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
Anybody take you up on that ale you brought yet?
Zoe can't stand the smell of it. I tried Alva, but I don't think she knows what taking a break means.
What about Catalo?
Ah, now there's a man that can hold his liquor. Pretty sure we downed half a keg. We had a good chat, I think.
What's wrong with your shoulder?
Yeah, it hurts a little. Yeah, maybe a lot.
What'd you do?
Well, I tried to arm wrestle with Catalo.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't such a great idea.
I was just curious to see if that new turns out it really is.
You, talked to Tilda at all?
I tried. I don't think even a hot forge could melt that ice. And you say she wants to help?
I think so. Well, let's hope. I gotta go.
Just let me know when you need us.
failed, Laurel. At Gemini. I should have pushed harder. I should have done more. I'd give anything to have him back.
This place smells wrong. No sand or wind, only cold steel. And the others up there, your squad.
They can hold their own. And as for this base, it may not be what you're used to, but it is a shelter.
Call it what it is. A cage.
You came here on your own.
For the battle you promised. So for now I wait in my cage for your word. Tell me when to strike.
The deal you made. Override tech in exchange for an assault on the Zenith base. How did Sylens approach you?
That name means nothing to me. My agreement was with the Oseram Asera and their sons of Prometheus.
So all this time, you didn't even know who you were really dealing with? And you trusted an Outlander?
If it was a trick, I would have crushed her. But she spoke with the same burning hatred for the Karja. And she offered me the chance to run them down with machines. The terror in your enemy's eyes when they see you charge. You know what I'm talking about. I bet you felt it.
I don't think so. What about your end of the deal? Would you have honored it?
Had I killed Hekarro and become chief, these Zeniths would have been the first of the tribe's victories. But because of you, my people will continue to consort with the enemy. A tribe of weaklings.
Because of me, hundreds of Tenakth won't throw away their lives in a battle they can't win. Are you really going to fight alongside me?
I have no reason to betray you.
Really?
I failed to kill Hekarro, failed to eliminate you. No Tenakth would follow me now. The Karja remain out of my reach, cowering behind their walls. All I have left are the screams of those long dead and unending rage. So show me where to bury it.
The whole time I've been in the West, I'd at least like to know why.
You were among the enemy.
Why did...
Dorak, Jiroka, Makalo, and the Karja pushed into the desert to raid my brother's squad, but the Karja captured them, strung them up, and burned. It was too late. I found...
So you wanted vengeance?
Vengeance. To tear down the Karja's cities and drown the land. Hunt down every last survivor and grind their bones until the sky chokes on the dust. But my chief betrayed me. Betrayed the Tenakth.
How did Hekarro betray you?
Hekarro called on the clans to resist the Karja's red raids. But we did more than just defend. We hunted them, and they fled as children before a pack of claw striders all the way to their border. There we ripped down their stone walls. Their domain was ours for the taking. But when it came time to push on, Hekarro ordered us to fall back. What soldier retreats when slaughter is at hand?
The kind who wants peace for their people.
Peace is just a lull between vendettas. But I thought my chief had greater tactics than mine, so I stood by him, even when he allowed that filthy Karja to join our ranks.
Fashav.
I enjoyed watching him die at the embassy. He should have been put down when we first captured him on the field. Instead, Hikaru made him a marshal.
Fashav told me how he became a marshal. He earned it just like any Tenakth.
It was an insult. No outlander could. And then a Karja messenger was brought before him. That's when I knew. I had dragged his treacherous corpse.
What happened when the Karja messenger appeared before Hikaru?
The quivering priests bore a message from their new king. No more war. No more raids. Suddenly the Karja wanted to talk peace. An embassy at the very fortress we tore down? A true Tenakth would never take a Karja truce. Their blood exists to be spilled. But he showed himself a Karja-loving traitor
And lost.
I vowed never to rest until the debt was repaid. With him, so with an army of soldiers and the day you got him.
All right. I guess we'll both face the end soon enough.
Ever since you got in my way, I've wanted to... But if I'm to die in battle, then it might as well be with the one who flew with the wing.
I'll let you know when it's time to move out. Needs a code. Maybe there's data in the facility that can help. What is this place?
So, yeah, I told the rest of the team. I was standing in the cafeteria, trying to pick out a god-awful meal cartridge when it suddenly hit me. Every school field trip, August always asked me to pack extra in his lunch bag so that he could share it with his friends. I don't know how. I was lucky enough to end up with kids so generous. And I know he'd want to share this too. So, to whoever finds this place, this was us.
The last time I spoke to Leanna, They were just about to ship out to the Pacific Front. They really believed that if they could buy us some time, it'd be worth it. That Zero Dawn would save us. But if you were listening to this, then they were right. It was worth it. Their name was Leanna Jensen. 9th Civilian Guard Brigade for Operation Enduring Victory. And they were so brave.
Do I see it now? Okay. My name is Emma Irving, and I'm 8 years old, and my favorite animal is a fox. Do you have foxes in the future? I hope so. They're the cutest. And super smart. Dad said we have to go underground soon, just like a fox. And then the bad robots won't get us. So, I guess this is H and G. Hi and goodbye.
The day I was supposed to meet my sister's new baby, a vert swooped in and a crew of masked commandos threw a bag over my head. Next thing I knew, I was being told how the world would end and given a choice. Die now, or help Zero Dawn and die later. At least Nicole, Ella, and baby Aiden will be safe in Elysium. Gave up my allotment to make sure they could stay together. I don't know if any of this will actually work. Zero Dawn, cradle-raised humans. But if it does, do better than we did, okay?
Got to be honest, I don't really know what to say to the future. So I guess I'll say something to the past instead. Mom, Dad, I know you'll never hear this, but I wanted to say thank you. For all those times you dragged me along as a kid to volunteer at hot zone relief centers. You used to say, you have to pay it forward. The future will always be brighter for it. I'm trying to live up to your example. I love you. We'll be together again soon.
Looks like some kind of maintenance space. I wonder where this leads. Power cells? Huh. That did it.
Aloy? A bunch of lights just turned on up here? Was that you?
Oh. Huh. Yeah, I guess it was. I better keep this down here. There it is.
What is it, Aloy?
I should go.
I'm here for you.
Oh, I'm back in the sleeping quarters. There's more stuff in here now. Looks like Alvas and Catalos. Unbelievable. Plugging in that power cell downstairs must have turned on these holograms. Alana must have left this for me on her way back east. I wish she could have stayed. But I know Meridian and the Lodge need her.
It's all going to be okay. We can't... Aloy! When did you get back?
A little while ago. I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the overseers would actually...
You wanted data, you'll find lots.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access, and knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be... Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way...
Any more data catch your eye?
All of it? I have so much. I'm particularly interested in the Odyssey. We knew the ancestors had made it to the moon. In fact, we theorized some of them had settled on it. But Sirius is way farther than that. And we thought journeying across the ocean would be the feat of a lifetime. The sheer calculations needed for space travel. It's overwhelming to think about.
Even so, the Quen are way ahead of other tribes when it comes to understanding this stuff. Where I grew up, everyone thought that stars were sparks that rose from a fire lit by the goddess to guide us through the night. So, all of the tribes here are new to you?
Yes, I've been studying up on them. The most fascinating one thus far has been the Tenakth, an entire culture based on the holograms of an ancient museum. There's much they've misinterpreted, not unlike the Quen. But still, there's a nobility to what they've become. They're honorable and fearless.
And deadly. You sure you're okay going on this mission? I know things must be happening pretty fast for you.
I've already braved oceans and madmen who thought they were ancestors reborn. Why not a few immortals with lethal drones at their command, too?
Guess the more the merrier. Are you okay?
I was wondering. She seems angry.
Don't worry. We're going to point the zeniths.
If you say so.
I hope our new guests have been behaving.
This Silence. He's the one who built the weapon that can take down zenith shields?
He is. Though I wouldn't expect him to answer any questions about it. He refuses to dole out his secrets to us lesser mortals.
Oh.
You know that special part of us that makes us warm, kind, welcoming?
Our spirit?
Yeah. He was born without that. How are you holding up?
Varl's loss is heavy on every... I didn't know him well, but Zoe and Erend seem to have taken... But I don't quite know what to say.
They need time.
And what about you?
I don't know. I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same. I mean, you are, as in, but even so.
We grew up very different.
Yes.
I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. And they share the... It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the
Sounds restrictive.
Yeah, you are not...
Have you spoken with Zoe at all?
A little bit. I did hear her singing with Varl not too long ago. Zoe seemed so... like every emotion she had. And she looked happier because... I felt...
You should ask Zoe to teach you sometime.
Maybe.
We won't let the Zeniths get away with.
Everyone's ready to take the
And you?
Nervous?
Don't worry. Anything new around here?
Kotalo showed me the schematics for his new arm. I recall reading about robotic limbs within the lab, but I never thought technology like that would think of what it could do for injured workers but knowing the Imperial family, they would use
Replacing body parts as they grow older.
Exactly.
I suppose you saw that Tilda's.
I almost went up to her to ask her what every diviner I know would kill to get 5 minutes with one. But now that she's here, I don't know if I'm scared of finding out more uncomfortable truths, or probably both.
I should head out.
Right.
So, you return.
Just you wait, Varl. We're taking those space slugs down.
The land blooms at your return.
Ready to head over to the Zenith base?
Whatever comes,
You look like you have something on your mind.
we're going to war soon. And war is something I promised myself I'd left behind in the Red Raids. But the more of your data I go through, every voice I hear, every word I read from our ancient past, it makes me realize just how much life was given so that ours could flourish. Fighting for that gift, it's if we fail.
Helps to know you're not alone.
For a moment there, you sounded like...
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you going to learn next?
I'm not sure. Last time I spoke with Gaia, I asked her for suggestions, and she brought up data you found on something called... From what I gather, the old ones would store knowledge in them for all... Like you've done here, for us. Maybe one day, more people will be able to use this place to learn the way...
That sounds... crowded, but... Read anything interesting lately?
I found out the old ones used leaf infusions, like the Utaru. Apparently it helped soothe them. That and some sort of cleanse their aura. Me, I think I'll stick to.
How's Aaron doing?
For a moment there, he thought he'd lost both you, but he never truly succumbed to despair. Guess that Oseram's stubbornness comes in handy.
Anything interesting happen while I was away?
Aaron told us how you tracked down the Oseram supplying Regala with machines. In fact, he's quite adamant about relating the tale at least twice a day. But I can tell it meant a lot that you asked for his help.
I wouldn't have been able to track them down if it was... Have you met our new Quen guest yet?
I could barely keep up as she gave herself a tour of the base. Varl gave her a new focus. Though when he told her she was free to access all the data we have here, she turned so pale, I thought we showed her to the archive room so she could see for her. She hasn't left the place since.
That sounds like Alva. Is there anything I can help with around here?
Hmm?
Are you okay?
You and Varl were friends.
I like to think so.
I was wondering...
Oh.
That bad, huh?
Why do you want to know?
He spoke of his sister, Vala, but...
She's the war chief of the Nora. Best warrior the tribe's ever known. Tougher than I thought. She could be pretty harsh at times.
I see. I feel silly.
I wouldn't worry about it. He was probably afraid Sona would scare you.
I would have liked to see her. Maybe I can meet her someday.
I think that can be arranged. You ever play that board game?
Strike? I was hoping it'd distract him enough to spare. No such luck.
How are things with everyone?
Slightly quieter. Aaron's been busy scouring data on his newest obsession. Apparently the old ones wrestled machines as some kind of performance. Called it metal versus meat. A must-see battle between... You'd think we have enough of that going.
Thoughts on our new Zenith?
I'd say she smells like death, but even death, she's more like a cold piece of metal.
She's... It couldn't have been easy. Seeing your people...
I come from a small village. My grandmother used to say there was no seed that wouldn't... I moved to the dishes when I decided to apprentice when the Red Raids began. But the injured kept pouring into Plainsong. Day after day. One day, I woke up to hear a Karja raiding party had... I rushed there with the healers to help the survive. The smell of burning flesh.
I'm sorry, Zoe.
I made it a point to appear before the chorus, to demand that we take a stand. I was denied.
You said you set out to fight the Karja alone?
I did. But it turned out I wasn't the only one. News of my disagreement with the Korra. Before I knew it, I had more than a dozen Utaru warriors. We knew we couldn't take on the Karja armies head-on. But we also knew the lay of the land. We ambushed smaller raiding, sabotaged their supply lines, and hit the...
Sounds like you were a force to be...
Enough that the Tenakth took note. When the clans began to push the Karja back east, we chased the enemy all the way.
You said you were at Barren Light when the
Tenakth marshals climbed the cliffs of the Daunt under cover of night. Then attacked from... Before we knew it, the gates were open, and what happened next was... When all the dust and blood settled, our enemies defeated. I went back to Plains. It didn't feel like I'd truly returned at all.
Is that when you became...
I thought soothing the suffering of others. Then you came along. I could either sing at people's graves...
I'm glad you chose the latter. I should get going.
Let us know when you need us.
Oh!
Back at the greenhouse, you spoke of knowledge forbidden to your people.
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy. And many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use, thus gaining favor with the Emperor. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to this, like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why Diviners are only allowed to act. Only Overseers can. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved.
What happens to Diviners who...
I never had the courage.
You mentioned the reason you came here was to help your family. Your sister...
Her name is Alika. Our parents are commoners. Peasants, really. When I passed the divination exams, they were so proud. It brought honor to our family and increased rations. Only Alika begged me not to leave for the research academy.
Why? What happens there?
Alika knew that once you enter, you're not allowed to leave or see anyone. Not even your family. Unless you can get special permission and an escort by an overseer.
It sounds harsh.
Like the focuses we keep. Fearful that last time I was allowed to see my family because of my position, I was able to get them refuge from the floods. But if our crops don't recover soon, they'll starve to death along with everyone else.
I promise I'll do my best to make sure. The ancestors is...
Yes and no. Those whose legacy taught us agriculture, warfare, leadership, and patronage of the science and arts.
The CO called Elizabeth Sobek an assistant.
Right. Well, any old one who has made minor contributions or worked one of the ancestors is called an assistant. That's how we thought of Sobek, until we met you. Our limited access to data past the late 2040s has obviously misinformed.
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in
Right. I'll start you as an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew, in fact. As such, he sponsored many diviners to search the legacy for anything that might help, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to whom we consider the greatest of...
Ted Farrow, revered ancestor.
I know better now. Anyway, the diviners discovered that Pharaoh spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. In fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing problems. If only we could find the right data in this fate. Perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that threaten. The Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured. Dozens of ships were scouting missions were, and the Emperor's nephew was named Sio, one who wields the legacy for the living embodiment of. It may seem strange now, but for a time we really believed he would. We had no idea just how.
You said the expedition across the sea was more dangerous. What happened?
We lost most, and scores of soldiers perished to hunger. And that was before we even hit the coast. Once we landed, machines ripped our patrols apart, and we struggled to replenish our rations. There were bright spots, to be sure. We found Thebes, but nothing improved the CEO's mood as he became more and more obsessed with Thebes and more convinced that the title of CEO was. You heard him. Spouting nonsense about pharaohs. We knew these weren't the words of a sane man, but he was quick to put any who spoke out in front of a fire.
What a great guy.
The Quen are wrong about many things when it comes to the legacy, but what the CEO became was a principled diviner stand for. I'm sorry you had to endure his mad.
So, Bohai, your overseer. Will he run things better than CEO?
He won't execute people on a whim, if that's what you mean. But he's hardly a paragon of integrity. I can't tell you how many times he took credit for. The best thing I can say about him is that you always.
Yep, sounds about right. I need to get.
I'll be here if you need.
There you are. Everyone's still here, not killing each other.
I'm as surprised as you are.
Things will get ugly once the Zeniths realize we're in their base. You'll need every trick you've ever learned.
I would have it no other way. Many soldiers died in the old world to make sure we stood. We will endure on their behalf. Though, I am curious how you intend without an army of our own.
Leave that to me. Just make sure.
As you say.
You said you were training with the Focus?
That's right. I've been watching holograms of our fight with the Zenith Spectres. I had never faced machine. How many do the Zeniths have?
I'm not sure.
I would not wish to face them en masse.
I'm with you there. It must be strange, seeing everything through a Focus now.
I can see machines like never before. Their strengths and weaknesses simply reveal themselves to me. To think that such a tiny object might be the most powerful weapon.
What do you think of this place? It must take...
It's an efficient center of operations, and though it could use some more.
Duly noted. Anything interesting happen while
I found an acceptable place to practice with my blade.
Oh, and where's that?
Outside, above the base. There's a nest of...
Ever thought of sparring with something that's not trying to kill you?
That would defeat the purpose.
Found anything interesting during your training?
Gaia told me where to find data on how wars were waged. I I knew the Ten fought against machines, much as we do now, but it seems they were among the last of their kind. Later, machines battled other machines on behalf of... as they vied for land. At least the Tenakth have the courage to put their lives on the...
There is nobility in that.
Yes, of course.
How are your studies going?
I wanted to learn more about the world of the Old Ones.
And?
I looked up this pharaoh Gaia said you went looking for, and learned about the plague of machines here. To think that the ancient world was wiped out by... There is no glory or honor in such a fate.
That about sums it up. Think you're ready to put all your training to the test?
I am Tenakth. I am always ready.
Getting Ether out of the Grove made for quite a spectacle.
One that showed the entire tribe that Hikaro's mission for peace, for it is now blessed by the...
Did you meet Tilda?
There is something about her that I wouldn't be surprised if my sword went through her and...
Honestly, with her? I bet people are curious about that new arm of yours.
None more than our Quen ally, I assure you. She couldn't wait to take it apart and figure out how... I gave her the data I used, hoping that would satisfy her.
Good luck with that. You said the Bulwark was your home a long time ago. That you were...
Yes.
That's all you're gonna tell me?
Fine. As you wish. My parents were killed. As I grew older, I came to be known as an accomplished fighter. Kote took a special interest. I fought by his side against the Karja, and led my squad on a dangerous climb. It was I who opened it from the east side.
That must have gotten you some
Indeed.
Then why'd you leave?
I became a marshal.
Your people keep mentioning the wings.
The visions tell us that the Ten flew on great metal machines and leapt into battle for us. To imitate this feat it is why the challengers leap into the arena during the cool. And now, like the deeds of the Ten themselves, oh?
I won't lie.
I can only imagine.
What did Chief Hikaro say when you told him he'd be joining me here?
You spilt rebel blood at the Grove, and helped. There was little more to be...
Well, I'm honored he lent...
Indeed.
Why did you leave the Sky Clan to become a marshal?
I was sent to the Kulrut by Tekote. Back then, I would have obeyed his every order. I believed in him, like one would a father. I was too fear of a rising young warrior challenging. I returned a hero from the battle at Barren Light. Never occurred to him that I had no...
Why did Tekote think you wouldn't be a threat to him if he sent you to the Kulrut?
Tekote knew that if I survived, I'd be forced to forsake the clan to serve the Tenakth as a whole. I'd never be allowed to challenge his command, even if I wanted to. After our victory at Barren Light, Tekote said it would be selfish to rob Hikaro and the marshals of a warrior like... Even though he knew perfectly well, it was exile, guised as an honor. So I became a marshal.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I am not. Though it pained me.
Look, I know you're probably not happy about keeping Regala, but I want her on our side when we fight this...
It is more than she deserves.
Thank you, Katalo. I heard my friend Talana came by the base. Did you get a chance to meet her?
Briefly. A bold woman. She'll be lucky if my people don't shoot her on...
She'll be careful. She's just...
Whoever it is, they...
You've had some time with the team now. Any thoughts?
I admit, I was surprised to see Nutaru here. Farmers don't make for effect.
I'm told she rallied some in her tribe against the Karja and fought all the way to Barren.
Interesting.
Did you...
Briefly. Are all Nora as skilled as the two of you?
I'm not exactly one of them. They managed to push the Karja from their lands.
I thought my tribe was the only one to...
Does it still hurt?
I try not to think about it. But it's difficult to...
I can't claim to...
Then you have my...
Have you spoken?
I've had little... I did see him bring some ale from...
That stuff's as bitter as sal.
You get used to it, eventually.
I'm sure Erend wouldn't mind. What do Tenakth do to relax? You know...
We play strike. Your Oseram friend, Eren, although he has yet to beat me. It helps one think strategically.
Somehow that still sounds like training. Have you spoken with Alva?
The Quen is peculiar. Her mind is sharp. That might... But it's hard to imagine her survive.
Trust me. She's...
I will take your word.
You nervous about the mission ahead?
If I live, it will be in victory. What matters most is that you achieve your objective.
I'll do my best. Anything new going on I should know about?
The Quen has been more insistent. Her pursuit of knowledge is relentless.
Just think of her like one of your...
Yes.
Did Eren tell you we found the people who gave Regalla's rebels the power to override machines?
He told me of the... I suggested he etch this victory on his fighting arm with one of our...
Is he going...
He didn't say no.
I should go.
You leave us with...